Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Palermo, and this is the Lawrence History Project. Today I'm here with my guest, Tom Delisle. Tom and I have both been residents of Lawrence. We were brought up there, came of age there. And this is episode 2 of the series. Tom has had a long history as a photographer, a master photographer, and we're going to be taking a look at some of his photographs taken, much of them concentrating around the Italian section of Lawrence in the 70s and 80s. We will be, in the future, we will be talking about different archival aspects of Lawrence. We may go back as far as the Civil War. We'll have different guests on. I hope Tom will be on many future occasions because he's got so much to do, and he's so much into the history of Lawrence. So, Tom, welcome to the program too.
Thank you, Mark.
What have you got for us
intro.
today?
A few more shots from the 70s and 80s. We get started whenever you're ready.
Okay. Oh, well, this is a classic. I went to high school looking at this.
Yes.
The back of this building.
Yeah, right next to Central, the old prison. I think that was probably around Civil War era when that was put up.
I think it was even before
pre-Civil War.
And do you know, Tom, they didn't have toilets in here.
They didn't.
They had chamber pots in here.
Whoa.
I think chamber pots, and up until almost till they closed. I don't know if they got plumbing in there just before they closed it. But this lasted right up until I think the early 1980s.
Yeah.
They took it down. And it's a shame they had to take it down because I don't know why they couldn't find
Repurpose it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing was made of enormous granite blocks, hardwood floors.
Yeah. I remember when we were kids, we had a group, like everybody had a group back then, and Kenny's, the drummer, his brother was in doing some time in there.
Oh, was
and
he?
we
Yeah.
went in and played a few songs for the guys. They were all up on the catwalk. You got these little kids, 14 years old. And a few other guys who knew how to play guitar came down. We let them use the guitars. And it was a cool memory. I never thought it would have, it wasn't Johnny Cash.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't Johnny Cash who falls in prison, but it's the closest we got.
The closest we got. Let's go on to the next memory here. Oh, well, this is still there.
Still there. Thankfully, the old library, people with foresight saved that. I heard that was 3 weeks away from demolition.
You know what?
Which would have been a crime.
I may have been one of those people. God
that
only
wouldn't
knows,
surprise me.
because that was being tabled for discussion by the city, whether the city council or whatever, they were going to take it down. I wrote an impassioned, and I used all of my English professor skills to write an impassioned letter to the paper, which was published. And I think somebody may have read it.
I'm sure they did.
And it's still there today. I don't want to take credit for it. God only knows why it's there. But thank God it is.
Thank God it is.
If you have the inside of the old Lawrence Library, it was just magnificent.
Magnificent.
Yeah, totally magnificent. And that was replaced by the new Lawrence Library, which went up in about early 1970s. But I'm so glad it's still there. Can we see what's next here? Oh, look at this.
Yes.
La Cibaeña.
La Cibaeña.
La Cibaeña refers to Cibao, which is a province of the Dominican Republic. This is probably early 80s or 1970s?
Early 80s, yeah.
Early 80s.
That's in the corner of Newberry and probably Summer Street.
Yeah, I think the building is still there, isn't
Still
it?
there. I'm not sure
I was
if it's
looking closely at that. They look uprooted, like it's a hot night and they all came out to sit together or something. Was it a summer?
That was probably during the feast.
Oh, okay.
When they were waiting for the Vada to come down the street.
Yeah. My wife is Dominican, and she says, right around the late 70s, early 80s, there was something happened. The economy melted down, and they had tremendous inflation. Could happen in any country, including us.
Right.
When I'm just going by the gas pump every day, looking at it rise. Could happen anywhere, and prices like doubled. and people had no recourse but to move out, and we had a massive influx at that time. People fleeing the Dominican Republic as diaspora, because the prices just went up rapidly, and your money wasn't worth anything.
Not sustainable.
Yeah. And could we see the next one? Oh, what a classic picture.
Again, Bill Peters, the backside of Bill Peters, looking towards South Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I was probably, I don't know if, I'm thinking of the height.
Yeah.
The building, there used to be the old Warner Theater right next to it. There was the big factory. I don't know if it was an old shoe store.
Okay. Yeah, you took that from the top of a building.
Probably
didn't
from
you?
the top of that building.
Yeah.
Because for that height. Either that or the Bay State, but I don't know if because the Bay State you could get a pretty long view. I don't know if it was that
I remember
long.
the next building over was a brick building, and I remember old Doc Bain.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in my 20s. I didn't have medical insurance. It was $10 to
Whoa.
go and have an exam. You pay him cash,
Mm-hmm.
$10 cash, and have a medical exam.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And the next picture, please. Oh yes, Pappy's.
Pappy's. Good old Pappy's.
Now, was there an older Pappy's and a newer Pappy's, or is this the?
I think that's the original because they lasted over 100 years.
My father would be. Let's see. My father would be 102 years old if he was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me that when he was a kid, his mom would send him with a nickel to Pappy's to buy bread every day, 5 cents. He said bread was 5 cents in all of the bakeries, but one of the bakeries started charging a dime, and they boycotted it. They boycotted. They just broke them.
Power to the people.
That's it, until you bring your price down to a nickel.
That little door next to it too was a pool hall.
Oh, okay.
That was one. I think there were at least 3 pool halls on Common Street.
And of course, I remember Pappy's went out of business. Perhaps. Oh, there it is. And with the rose, with the flowers in the window. And this is so appropriate, just so right.
So right.
No big signs, no big fanfare, just a bowl of flowers in the window.
Yeah.
It's so appropriate. Thank you for all your years of patronage.
Yes. The Boston Globe sent a crew up there.
Did they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes less is more. Huh?
Right. Exactly.
Understatement, Can we see the next? Yes. Now, what's this place?
Again, Petralia's, that's right next to AAA Barbershop, Royce AAA. That's on Jackson Street, corner of Jackson and Elm.
Wasn't there an outdoor boxing ring over there?
That was on
connected
the Rocky Club, but that was on the other side of Lawrence Street, near the slush.
Oh, okay.
The lemon slush.
Oh, okay.
Near the Protectory.
Yeah, so you can go in, have some drinks, have some beer in the summer, and then you go out the back door and you can watch boxing.
Right.
Some of the local characters. You know who I'm thinking. I won't mention the names. I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We better be careful here. This is going to be going out on the internet. Okay. Next, please. Oh, this is classic.
There's Tuts.
There's Tuts. Now you'll notice there's a little story here. You'll notice the girly magazines.
Mm-hmm.
They're behind the counter.
Behind the counter.
They didn't used to be, but when our generation became 12 and 13, I guess Old King Tut was visited by a bunch of adolescent boys. The girly magazines used to be in the back.
Right.
And this was the days before Microsoft Excel spreadsheets or anything, but or electronic inventory control. But he must have noticed there was a lot of shrinkage. And he accordingly moved all of the girly magazines to the back of the fountain. So,
and
a lot of 12 and 13-year-old boys got their stash from Old King Tut.
From Tut, yeah. And there was the phone booth. He had a phone booth there.
Yes, I remember.
And the bathroom in the back, because he let us use that. That was royalty if he let you use the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because we went there every day seeing the year from Central for 5 days a week.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
The crew.
A massive, what was this? Wurlitzer jukebox?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Vanilla Cokes. It was the best.
Yeah, it was great.
It was the best.
And the next, please. Was this the old Lebanese man that sold slush? Is that?
No, you know what? That was, again, on the corner that Chestnut and Short Street, I'm pretty sure, near the old docks, Frasca's, and Rudy's. That was just a distinctive tenement. And that's one thing I realized when I saw some of the archival stuff, shots from the urban renewal. Each house was distinct.
Uh-huh.
This was one of the more distinctive ones. It looks like it was a nice structure in its day.
You know, they threw those all up really quickly in the 1910s and 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were just slapped up, you know, to accommodate the influx of immigrant labor. And others were really, you can tell they really put some care into that.
Yes.
It must have been owner built, you
Yep.
know. It's just the moldings, everything. It's a shame to see them. If that was someplace else, that would probably still be standing today.
That would have been preserved.
And there wasn't a consciousness in those days to rehab stuff.
There was.
The impetus was to just tear it down, modernity, you know.
But it was thriving in its day. Those three streets, Chestnut,
yeah.
Elm, Maple. It was
Just full of
thriving.
full of life. Yeah. And what's next year? I think is that
The back of I like the back of buildings too. That's on, I think on Garden Street, near Garden and Newberry. It was just, it spoke to me. You know, sometimes the back was probably more interesting than the front.
Oh,
And it reminded me, you know, being a paper boy, I had a couple of paper routes in the day.
Look at that, huh?
And
Wow.
you often saw parts of houses, if you were a paper boy, that you didn't see, if you were just, you know, looking at the face on the street.
It's interesting. The front has a facade, probably looks okay, but the back looks
Back
like
tells the
looks like
story.
hell. Yeah, that's where all the living takes place.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And next, please. Now, where is that? Bees?
Nope, I'm not 100% sure. I think that might be Broadway or it might be Essex Street. That's one, if anybody knows where that was. I'm sure someone out there does.
Yeah,
But,
I'll give the. If anybody knows where that is, please let us know.
Yes.
We have a dedicated email, lawrencehistoryproject@gmail.com. Let us know if you know where this is. The Sandwich Grill. It looks. Look at the sign. It looks like 1930s script, kind of script,
Yep.
30s or
Little
40s.
Art Deco
Yeah,
touch.
the Sandwich Grill. Okay, next. Oh, okay.
Savastanos.
Oh,
That day the light wasn't that great, but I got it standing at least.
I'm glad you did.
Yes.
This was my favorite Italian restaurant
it
from
was-
the old days, Tom.
It was the best.
You know, my father used to bring us down there.
Oh, my parents too.
And I remember still to this day the eggplant. Oh my God, it was to die for. And the old timers, they didn't skimp.
Oh no.
They didn't skimp. I mean, it was fun. And you know, your father would bring you there, your whole family. You wouldn't be worried about what kind of garbage they're putting in the food. There was a trust. There was a relationship with the old timers.
Exactly.
You knew they're going to be putting the best. They're not going to be using spoiled meat or meat that's a little bit on the way out. And those are the days of relationships. But what great food. Do you remember that
Oh,
stuff?
yeah, absolutely. And our friend Bob Caprioli, he says it with great pride because his mother's related to the family.
Oh, yeah.
We have the sauce recipe.
Oh, well, you'll have to share that with
Which
me
is probably
sometime.
up there with Coca-Cola for,
Is
being
that right? Wow.
proprietary.
Maybe Bob will release it for us. We'll have to ask him.
Probably have to pull it out of his cold dead hands to get that one.
Just like a Lawrence politician, I won't mention his name. He was an expert on mushrooms and can go out on any day any day in the summer and come back with a whole grocery bag full of mushrooms.
Right.
And he died recently, and everyone suspects that he took this secret with him.
I'm sure.
You know who I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I know.
right?
Yep.
Classic,
We're not the only ones,
classic character, if you know who I'm talking about. We love him
Love him.
and we miss him. But he took the secret with him. Where was he going to get all those mushrooms?
Exactly.
Okay, so Savastanos. Tremendous. And you know, one other thing I want to say about the old timers. Wow, they give you helpings enormous. They just heap your plate.
Oh, heaping
Oh,
helpings.
God. Yeah. You know, I went to an Italian. Somebody brought me to an Italian restaurant. Oh, you got to try. A friend of mine said, "You got to try the soup here." I said, this is soup. This soup is from a can.
Right. Yes.
No, none of the old timers would ever do
Never.
that.
And
Never
everybody's
happened.
minestrone was
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
It was all personal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay, next, please.
Stramundo's. Again, the corner of Union and Common Street. I remember stopping there after going to the football games in South Lawrence at the stadium. Everybody always walked there, walked back, and we'd stop at Stramundo's for a meat pie. And we weren't the only ones from the looks of it.
You know, I'm not much of a meat eater myself. Not quite vegetarian, but if you're a meat eater, those things were delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? They were
Yeah.
like grilled pork with garlic and seasoning in it.
Right.
And they're greasy too. They
Oh,
tend to
yes.
be greasy, but they've got to be greasy.
The paper plate with the grease.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
absolutely.
The thing I love is the spinach pies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'll die for those things.
Yes.
Spinach pie, and yeah. So what's next here? Next, please. Oh, classic picture.
One of my favorites.
10 cents a pound. What is?
10 cents a pound.
What was that?
Maybe
That's
some
10
fruit
cents a
or
pound.
well,
maybe tomatoes, perhaps.
tomatoes, maybe.
10 cents a pound.
But this is of the moment. This man's giving these kids health or something. I'm not sure what they did.
Maybe
Maybe
stealing,
he tried to lift something.
stealing fruit, stealing
Possibly.
an apple or something.
Yeah.
He looks like he's not very happy with them.
No, that's right on Common Street, next to where Bonji's used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it might even be Bon. I'm not sure, but it's right
Yeah.
just a few stores up from Jackson Street on Common.
I remember as a kid going in there.
Mhm.
My
Oh,
father,
yeah.
my father would go in there and buy olives,
Mhm.
and they'd have a big oak barrel,
Yeah,
55-gallon oak barrel, and then dip right into the bottom and pull the olives out.
yeah,
And
old school.
oh yeah,
Old
really
world.
old school.
Old
They're
world.
delicious too. And you know, I've talked to different people. This is going back to the 50s. They had some kind of radishes in brine. They called them ciuballinis. I don't know if you've ever heard. Nobody
No.
I know can ever. I've talked to people. They were delicious.
Mm-hmm.
They were marinated radishes, and ciuballinis they called them. And they used to same way. They'd get them. You order your ciuballinis. They'd get them out of a big 55-gallon barrel full of brine, and still remember those. Okay, go to the next photo, please. Oh,
One of the
Sportsman's, isn't it?
Sportsman's, yep. Sportsman's Cafe.
it
And,
stood proudly right
yeah.
till the end.
Yes, and a friend of mine, Hank Pangione, he loves telling the story whenever he sees this picture. This is right on Lawrence Street, just down the corner from Elm and Lawrence, one of the few last standing buildings in that area before urban renewal took it. And he said there was two doors in the front, ladies' entrance and men's entrance, right next to each other. And as soon as you went in, you were in the same room.
Oh, okay.
It was all just for show. You know, there wasn't no division. Once you went in, you were in the same room.
Well, we know how that happened in the Depression, right after the Depression. Well, respectable women would not be seen in a men's bar.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, just like Latin American countries in the old days, even now.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get more trade, right after Prohibition ended, a lot of tavern keepers started with the ladies' entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And a ladies' entrance was usually in the back. There's a sign up there, ladies' entrance.
Right.
And women could go in and they can drink with each other without being hit on by men or put up with any obnoxious. They can drink their beer with each other. Later on, they changed that around to ladies and escorts.
Oh, okay.
So
I
a
remember those
lady could
signs,
come
yeah.
in with, if she had her husband with her or a boyfriend or whatever. But eventually, I still remember, even in the 60s, they had a bar near my house called the Blue Slipper.
Yeah.
And they had a men's entrance
That's
in
right.
the back, ladies and escorts.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything else, everything put together falls apart, I guess. And
Right.
it gave way by the late 60s. That was a part of history. But that's how it started.
Right. That's interesting.
The tavern owners wanted to get more business and bring women into it, which it worked. I guess it worked.
Yeah. They get
Marketing,
thirsty, too.
okay? Where else would America do new business ideas hatched like that?
Exactly.
Okay, even cigarettes. Women wouldn't smoke. They had an advertising campaign to show women how
Oh,
to
yeah.
smoke. That it was actually very stylish.
Virginia
and
Slims.
chic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was back in the 20s.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where they got women into this habit,
Mm-hmm.
showing how stylish it was, how chic, how modern it was.
Mm-hmm.
And can we go to the next one, please? Okay.
Yeah, this is
Now, what a handsome-looking couple.
yes.
Do you know them?
The Cocos. I forget their first names.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I go down there on my bike, I'd always stop in, to get a slice or two,
Yeah.
either
yeah.
there or over at Tripoli's.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the last remaining buildings before urban renewal took it. But that building itself, again, at the archives, that had been around for quite a while. And
Oh,
they
yeah.
rehabbed it, and, God love them for doing it.
Somebody needs to advise him on his grammar. See, this is the English professor in me speaking. Pies does not have an apostrophe in it.
No,
Unless the
right.
who advised him on that?
Who advised him? Need some white out on that sign.
Oh, so Tom, what do you think we should do next time? Our next, would you come back? Would you
Oh, yeah,
consider
I'd
coming
be
back?
happy to
Okay,
come back.
great. What do you think we should do?
We could do well if you want to put it out there, for recommendations or whatever, advice. A lot more from this era.
Yeah.
Some newer ones, some contemporary ones. I haven't got those on a disc yet.
Okay.
But contemporary Lawrence, Essex Street mainly.
Oh yeah.
And again, I have a few shots of South Lawrence, mainly north.
You've got some shots of the Forgotten Country Parade, 1962.
Garden Country, again, from the archives.
Okay.
What a resource, that place is, the Immigrant City Archives, and
Yeah.
the devoted women over there, Susan and Amita and Kathy. They're great.
That's
They
fantastic.
know
Yeah.
the history inside and out.
Maybe we can dedicate a show I'm just thought of this. I'm just throwing ideas around, but maybe we can dedicate a show just to the For God and Country Parade, which marked the 50th anniversary of the Great Lawrence Strike of 1912. This was quite a lot of material there to
Right.
go through, and a lot of interesting stuff. There's quite a story there.
Mm-hmm.
Forgotten. I remember I asked one of my teachers, I think the question, I forget who it was, but I think the question was, why are we celebrating our God and country right now? What's so special about this parade? Why are we celebrating it right now? Why don't we celebrate it other years?
Mm-hmm.
Why all this attention to God and country right now? And the teacher couldn't answer the question. So what I got back was, basically, sit down and shut up.
Sit down, you're right.
And on that, we will end today's
Good note to end on. We'll
today's
sit down and shut up.
project. And I just want to tell you, folks, if you have any suggestions, it would be Lawrence History Project. Okay, Lawrence History Project at gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Okay, are we missing any of the story? Anything you want us to cover? Anything that we could add? Okay, so that's it, everybody. Take care and be well. This is Mark Palermo with Thomas Delisle.
Thank you very much.